Hello, I'm Jean Martin, Senior Partner at Mercer. Delighted to be here today to share what we're observing as one of the most profound shifts in workforce transformation, specifically the evolution to skills and capabilities as the new currency. Gone are the days when we will think about work in terms of jobs and job designs, and now becomes a much more flexible, fungible, and uncertain future where the question of whether we have the skills we need in the place we need them within the person who embodies them will become the centerpiece of more agile talent management. We've been working at Mercer for the past year studying skills and the evolution of skills, particularly through the COVID-19 pandemic. And as the pandemic continues to affect so many parts of the world, we are still embroiled in the reality that agility is just much more than a buzzword at this point. Agility has become a survival mechanism in the face of change and disruption like we've never seen before. Also, we've learned that rapid and strategic cost containment is critical to weathering any future shocks that may be in store, future pandemics, economic uncertainty, climate change, Brexit, many dynamics that disrupt us. And then third, current workforce management processes are just long past their sell-by date. I think what we've heard from the majority of our clients in the past year is that the tools that got us here won't get us there. The talent management processes that worked in a much more static and stable time are no longer adequate for ensuring our people's success going forward. The new world will demand new ways of working and new challenges, and of course also new opportunities. Just a few of the trends that are influencing the future of work. The intensifying risk climate, whether it be uncertainty in economic outcomes or environmental factors such as climate change, such as sustainability. Those intensifying risks mean that our chief financial officers are front and center with saying, do we have the skills we need for the future? Also, very excitingly and also in a very large way challenging us, during the pandemic, we accelerated our digitization. Many companies, in fact, the majority of our clients, focused on pulling forward digital processes. So employees are returning to work in the workplace in an entirely new way through entirely new digital means and mechanisms. That means new digital skills are required as we go forward. Shifting economic interests, whether it be shifts in Europe, shifts in the developing world, shifts around the variables that affect the performance of some of the largest economies in the world, we will be focusing in on how do we move our companies more quickly to seize opportunities and also to protect against risk. And then out of that, the birth of new businesses and new work models. New ways of operating through ecosystems, through partnerships, and through the gig workforce. No longer do we need to own our workforce. We can buy, build, borrow, or even bot as AI and automation surge forward. And then lastly, the demographic challenges. We've been talking about this at Mercer for many years, and during the COVID pandemic, we saw the acceleration of the retirement boom. Now, not only do we have 4 generations in the workforce, but we also have the dynamic of Brexit, the dynamic of restricting immigration laws that no longer create workforce fluency across border. So what does this mean when it comes to the workforce that will be needed for the future? First, we need new cognitive, social, and technical skills to help us achieve what we need to achieve. We have new expectations from shareholders and employees on purpose and social responsibility, and we need new organizational capabilities that allow us to seize and address those needs. We have new realities around work flexibility and personalization. We really have to be more flexible than ever before, not just in the case of work from home, but in the case of things like personalized total rewards. And the rising importance of connectedness. What we find is that employees want to be connected now more than ever. Perhaps the work from home pandemic led employees to seek out these new relationships and to explore new ways of interacting. So this is blueprinting what we call at Mercer the new shape of work, centering on five critical questions. How can we reshape our workforce model to allow changes in capacity? How can I develop the skills I need for the future at the same time that I'm delivering the results of today? How can I know the skills we have today in the organization and leverage them fully? How do we prioritize L&D spend? And how can we speed up and improve our HR processes for a more flexible and fast-moving world? Well, in the face of challenge comes enormous opportunity. And like never before, we're seeing clients reshape and reskill through this disruption. In particular, the evolution that we're tracking is that the new world and social order demands a new way of looking at work itself, the way we work, and the workforce. And there are four evolutions happening. First, the move from discrete jobs to skill clusters. The idea of the job description was perhaps always outdated, always retrospective. Now companies are saying, rather than organize around jobs, why don't we organize around skills? Why don't we understand a more fast and flexible way to deploy our people's skills against the tasks in front of us? From job-based workforce decisions, then, to data-led, skills-driven workforce planning. This is where exciting partners like Eightfold lend their AI to HRIS data to begin to lift out workforce blueprints of where skills are, creating for individual talent managers and, of course, the larger organization, a heat map of the most critical skills across the organization. Career development. No longer job-based, now individuals, and particularly some of the new generations in the workforce, are looking for skill-fueled career agility. They want to know their skills are being fully recognized, leveraged, and deployed, and they want an increasing variety in the positions and work that make up their careers. And then lastly, the idea of job-structured work and individual evaluations. In some ways, measuring someone against a job, measuring a person, a collection of capabilities, against a static to-do list never really made sense. And now assignment, gig-defined work with agile performance methods, measuring how skills are realized in the face of actual activity, are becoming part of the new trend toward continuous performance management. These four shifts are profound in so many areas of human resources. And not surprisingly, the data suggests that companies are reinventing for flexibility to try to take advantage of these changes. In our Global Talent Trends study, Mercer looks at the feedback from CEOs, executives, managers, HR, and employees. And every year, we try to understand what are the most emergent trends. Well, first, the 5 skills that have grown in importance during the COVID time, very interestingly, are very different from skills that we've seen in prior years. Collaboration skills rated top at 49% of all organizations surveyed. Prioritization skills, growth mindset, digital dexterity, and empathy and inclusive management. Reflect on these 5 in aggregate, and we really get a different sense of the workplace, a place that's much more about collaboration and seizing in-the-moment synergies between people's capabilities, and also a place where a growth mindset and a desire to learn continuously are central to every human's orientation within the organization. And lastly, that we approach our digital colleagues, increasingly the bots and AI that will accompany us in the workplace, with new respect and new ability to incorporate them into our work. And all of this creating a need for empathy. During times of change, we really do need to feel for one another and also create an environment that always asks, have we included every opinion in the room? The excitement of the prioritization of these 5 skills, though, has led organizations to then say, how are we measuring these skills in our company? How do we understand whether our organization is building the skills that are most important for the future? What we're seeing now is a transformation that is laying a roadmap or maybe an innovation continuum from left to right. As you see here on the slide, in the traditional view, careers were really limited to lateral moves or static job ladders. Certification was one of the only ways to recognize skills, and job grades dominated the performance management around people and skills. But as we've looked across the past 10 years, we've seen a move from the traditional to the evolving, where cross-functional career pathing and non-traditional career moves is more prevalent, and we start to see skills tied actively into roles and acknowledged and recognized and sought out and paid for. Then moving to the leading level, some companies in the frontier have moved to the career experience. How do we optimize every employee's career with us by utilizing a skills framework that helps employees understand the next best skill to acquire and how to apply that to their career in terms of the next best fit job? Here, levels have transcended bands or grades, and we've started to think about skill progression as a continuous mandate. And then finally, on the far right, the future-focused, talent marketplace and talent exchange, a place where individuals will create their own direct drive career. They will be able to govern their access to opportunities through automated interfaces that give them much more visibility into what the organization is looking for and also into themselves, creating their own skills passport or fingerprint that can be applied to all sorts of opportunities as they arise. Here's where skills clusters begin to be mapped and job assignment or skills assignment, matching skills to task, becomes the way work happens in a much more varied and fluid way. Finally, the structures go much more flat as we begin to think of everyone's contribution, regardless of their junior or senior levels. That frees up talent and capacity and allows us to get a lot more realization of every individual's potential. You can start to see the liberating effects when you look across these 4 and think about how every workplace could evolve to create an increasing focus on personalized careers and also to shift to much more flexible definitions of work. But this isn't easy to do, and there's a lot of work entailed. In the global talent trends, companies reported that they are focused on a number of priorities. They're focused on identifying future critical skills. They're taking a very targeted approach to reskilling, realizing limited budget constraints. Companies are also expanding their talent and learning ecosystems and really exploring ways to move talent around much more flexibly and frequently within the organization. And then finally, about 1/3 of companies are gathering active information on the current skill fingerprint of their entire workforce, with 30% ramping up mentoring, coaching, and skills development. Only 8% of organizations said reskilling is not a focus for them at this time. So with 92% of organizations globally working actively toward this evolution towards skills as the new currency for workforce transformation, we see a number of areas where new thinking will drive new behavior and new outcomes for organizations broadly. But this requires an end-to-end transformation. It's disruptive. As we said, even those past their sell-by-date talent management processes will have to either be disposed of or radically evolved. So, this all encompassing change depends on taking a few critical steps and recognizing the vision that is now becoming quite clear for companies and organizations broadly. It's the vision of skills-based talent practice, where first we facilitate talent sharing across the organization, building teams with much more fungible skills and many career pathways. We enable that critical identification of the strategic skill gaps. We're hearing from clients that boards of directors around the world are asking, do we have those skills that matter most to the future? Also, helping organizations see which skill sets are trending up so they can drive that buy, build, borrow, or bot talent decision making. High quality succession slates are really reinvented in this new world as we begin to think about restructuring and redeployment at a skill level, not at a job or person level. And then really driving a new culture, a new focus on skills, skills development, skills competitiveness in ever-evolving markets. And with 92% of organizations focused here, the bar in terms of competition is raised. So in terms of attracting top talent, paying and rewarding the skills that are needed in the organization becomes central. But the opportunity is now, and it is real. The enterprise need for skill-based talent practices, as mentioned, has become very clear. The pandemic has accelerated this concept and brought it forward in a way that may benefit all future generations of workers. Skills data, for the first time, is much more widely available. Artificial intelligence and applications are able to harvest data and organize it on a real-time basis from HRIS, the labor market, and from all sorts of external data sets, benchmarking for the exact right competitive profile for your organization against your strategy. Technology, as Eightfold is a clear example, the technology that personalizes, that creates a skills-driven experience and advances in artificial intelligence that can prompt an individual to take their career forward based on the development and better deployment and leverage of their skills. And then finally, last, the need for more integration between talent and business processes. As we know, functionality used to be the goal, but human capital management clients are telling us that we've gone now from being functional to trying to optimize, especially given the uncertainty in front of us and the need to conserve resources. We're using skills-based insights to optimize our human capital leverage. 6 steps can help all of us get started. First, be sure to fuel your workforce planning and human capital analytics with data on the value of skills, both inside and also outside the company, to get that competitive benchmark. Leverage the AI-driven technology to strengthen the quality of talent matching. So many diamonds in the rough, so many individuals who have been deprived of perhaps a career that would better reflect their true capability. This is a place where AI can go much further than human judgment to help match people to the skills realization opportunities that present. And then targeting the reskilling, the upskilling, the redeployment opportunities against strategic gaps and job families as we seek to reinvent our business operating models or go into new markets. We need to focus first on those skills that matter most. And then the investment needs to flow through pay for skills initiatives. We're helping more companies than ever before reconceive their rewards, design, and also compensation approaches to address loan-to-learn investments and predictive insights into how to borrow, buy, or build the skills that they need. And then democratizing opportunity follows. This type of democratization is something that we've been hearing from the millennials and from the generations that follow for some time as an extraordinary priority in their own thinking, in their own orientation toward work itself. Well, now, with the convergence of technology, data, and the urgency around redesigning work based on skills, we can democratize that opportunity, target it, and make sure that individuals can take responsibility for their own skill advancement and development. And then finally, the culture of lifelong learning. As people stay in the workplace longer, as individuals come into the workplace expecting a much more varied career with many divergent types of job opportunities, the culture of lifelong learning becomes essential for survival. Looking at skills from a culture perspective and a systematization perspective will help us make sure that we've created the right environment for continuous skills acquisition and really put focus on that lifelong learning, supporting it fully, and driving employee experience and satisfaction along the way. As we think about emerging to a brighter future, at Mercer, we're really excited by what this trend means. Not only are the 6 steps realizable by every organization, but we also know that they foretell a future where individuals no longer have to worry, am I being fully utilized at work? And we can finally enable a great career for everyone in the world. This is the future made possible when skills become the new currency for workforce transformation. Thank you.